Hey, you're listening to Don't Lie to Your Life Coach podcast with Kim Arrington. I'm Kim Arrington. I'm a life coach, a weight loss coach, an author, and a badass passionate about helping you connect back to your most authentic self. Join me here each week so I can coach you on how to think all those juicy thoughts that get you feeling your absolute best and taking some big ass action. Coaching has changed my life, and it can change your life too. I'm here to give you real life solutions to create a life you'll love. Because the truth is, boo, you ain't just got problems, you got options. Hey, y'all. Looked cute. Thought I would record a podcast. Actually, I just finished recording a promo for the new weight loss course. I know, y'all, it's almost here. Remember, it is coming. It is coming before the end of summer. It's almost here. It's almost here. So I was like, let me not waste this cute. And also because I wanted to grab another podcast for you all before I got a little deeper in this. I wanted to record something for you. This has been inspired by seeing a Facebook friend's post about how the hell do you make friends? So this episode is like, how the hell do you make friends? Or maybe even keep them over 40. You know that I did a podcast a while back about friend breakups. I'm going to link that here. But I want to talk about this because this has come up so much with my clients, so much with people who I know, and they're like, how do you make friends? And the first thing I want to talk to you about is it ain't as easy as it used to be, because remember, when you were in school, you had access. I mean, unless you grew up in like a one-stop light town where there was literally like 3 people at your high school or your, elementary school, you had access to so many kids your age when you were younger. If you went to college, you definitely did. That was thousands of kids. If you went to, a school, you had access, so they were available. Well, now we all over 40 and we go to our jobs and, some of us have work friends and all of that, but it's a different kind of feeling. Okay. So this is going to be a friend-packed episode. And I want you to think about, some of you all are like, I don't need any more friends, or, I've just given up on friends. I want you to be open to the possibility that if you are still tap dancing your cute ass around this earth, there are still more people for you to love. I remember there's a bike shop that I walk past sometimes, and one of the times it had that sign up that said, you haven't met all the people you'll love, okay? Or who will love you. So let's chop it up. Let's get into it, okay? So how to make and keep friends. Number 1, you ain't. Every person you want to be your friend is not going to be your friend. That is a realitycheck.com. Everyone you want to be your friend is not going to be your friend. Everybody you want to be your friend is probably not friend material for you. And I just saw this little reel that, what's her name? Jane Fonda recorded. It was her, Lily Tomlin, Sally Fields. I think they have a movie out. And she talked about that her favorite, ex-husband, Ted Turner, was like, I don't need to make friends after 60. And she said, she told him he was wrong, of course. Like, to make friends after 60, she talked about how she had to pursue. And Sally Fields and Lily Tomlin were like, yeah, because she wouldn't leave us alone. She just kept coming back. Like, you may have to pursue, you may have to try more than once if this person is of interest to you. Sounds kind of like dating. And in a weird way, having a friend does have a certain intimacy. It does have a certain rhythm. It does have like some awkward moments, just like dating can have, right? So if you think about it this way, right? About how if I can be the type of person who understands that it's a numbers game. This is what I always tell clients about dating. If you date 25 people, you're more likely to find a person, y'all call them the one, or her or them the one. I just call them a person. I think it's possible for you to have many different matches, and it depends on the version of who you are as to who your one or who your best match is, right? So the same thing with a friend, you have to put yourself out there in multiple and safe situations, okay? We're not going to meet the new friend in the back parking lot of, the Denny's restaurant where nobody can see you. No, we're still going to be safe, have some boundaries when we're meeting people, public places, unless we know the person, then we might go on the hike with them. So you do want to have like a sense of, what makes sense. And the other thing is I want to say, I didn't even write this down. I don't want you to feel like a loser if you're needing a little tune up on how to make friends. I mean, if you have made most of your friends earlier in life, and then what happens? People move, friendships change, some of our friends are passing away. Like if your best friend passed away, it doesn't mean, while you may not have that same relationship, and I don't think you should, it does not mean you can't have a loving relationship with another person. Like I think about some of my best friends. I do have a friend that I've had for a long, long time, since I was 5. Then I have college friends. I have high school friends. I still live in the town. So that's another thing. If you don't live in your town, your access to the people you used to be, with, and also if you grew up in a huge metro area, right? Like maybe you all are dispersed, but you want to think about, like, give yourself a break, give yourself some grace on this. Mel Robbins had a TikTok about how to make friends, and how, it's not as easy as it feels, and you're going to feel goofy. You're going to feel ooey gooey. You're going to feel vulnerable. That's a part of the process. So I did write down a couple of notes, for us to look at and to go through. So I want to talk about friend forgiveness. Some of y'all have friends who you haven't talked to in years, who are like literally ready for you to reach out to them and to resurrect that relationship. Maybe something difficult happened, maybe life got in the way, maybe kids or career or moving got in the way, but you could make a little list. You could make a friendsgiving list where you write down a couple of people that you'd like to reconnect with, and you can say, hey, this just happened with me with one of my college buddies who, I was able to connect with, friends during the pandemic, and I tried to connect with her, and I asked her a question and she gave an answer, and she came back and was like, look, I didn't handle this the right way. I want you in my life. I want to be talking to you more. I want to be seeing you more. And she had worked herself up in a tizzy thinking I was going to reject her. And I was like, okay, let's do it. It's that easy. You have people who are, number one, you just have people who are waiting on you. I'm gonna make that number 2. Number 1 is that you need to not feel terrible if you are on a pursuit and looking for some new friends. Number 2 is that you already have friends who are lying in wait, who all you have to do is reach out to them. Okay. My mother used to always say this, and I think this goes really good with the like resurrecting your friend relationships, right? Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold. Hello, Girl Scouts. So definitely there's a lot of wisdom in that, right? Humans do naturally gravitate to each other, but effort must be applied. That's kind of that thing of you pursuing, like you saying, hey, I'd really like to get to know you more. I like to, and listen, be okay if people are a little awkward, if they say something funny, or like sometimes people are like, I don't like it. It may make them feel vulnerable that you are so direct with like, hey, let's hang out. Let's like, what do you like to do? Like, sure, I like to do that. What about we do this? And it's okay if, most of my friends and I have a standing, if you cancel, it's okay. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm willing to do that thing alone if I bring it up, or I'm willing to let it go. So also give other people grace as they navigate friendships. Sometimes people will cancel. And if a person continues to cancel on you, you can have a conversation and just ask them, like, I've noticed you've canceled. Can you talk to me about what's going on? They could be socially awkward. They could be trying to get over this pandemic induced, social awkwardness where it's weird to go back to doing your things. I will give y'all an example. I stopped pumping gas for so long in the pandemic that pumping gas gave me a little anxiety when I started doing it again. I've pumped gas maybe thousands, maybe tens of thousands of times, but because I hadn't done it, like I would go weeks without putting new gas in the car. It freaked me out a little bit. So I had to keep pumping gas or send my husband to get the gas for me. Okay. But the point is just that allow people to have their moment too when they're trying to figure things out. We're going to let that be number 3. I want to talk to you about my buddy, Michael. And I mentioned that friends pass away, and my buddy, Michael, passed away. He pursued me in a friendship, and he was older than me. So at first, I knew he wasn't trying to get with me. I knew it wasn't romantic, but at first it took me a little aback that he reached out, even though I believe in multi-generational friends. That should be a number 4. You don't just have to have friends that are your same age. You don't have to have friends that are the same race, your same sexual orientation, your same whatever. Try to shake it up a little bit, okay? But with Michael, we became film buddy friends. So be on the lookout, number 5, for a specific activity that you do with that friend. They may be that friend. We went to see the Amy Winehouse documentary, went to see the Beatles movie, we went to see the Miles Davis movie. He was actually not just my film buddy, he was my music film buddy, that specific. Okay. And we would see each other out. We'd sit next to each other at the bar. We'd have a good time. But it was a very specific relationship that was about, it was a topic based, right? And so if you love to hike, or if you love to do archery, or if you love to bird watch, you may end up finding a friend who is really, y'all might not go do coffee and tea, although Michael used to love Jamba Juice and I was not a fan, but I would go be with him just to be with him, right? You may find someone who shares an interest with you, and that is the nature of your friendship. Like, you're there for each other, you care. We'd see each other in the community. We were like artsy friends. Like, we did artsy stuff together. Okay. And if we saw each other out at an event, we hung together. That was the kind of friendship. And he is passed on, and I miss my buddy. I miss him. I miss him. Sometimes, number 6, it's good to think back about how your roots of friendship began. Okay. So my mother patterned very hands-on friendship to me. She had a best friend she talked to on the phone. She patterned work buddies to me. She had good work friends. And so some of us see our primary caregiver pattern something to us, and we either do it like them or the opposite. So it could be good for you to think about where your friend beginning, came from. Like, and do you still like it? Because you are now not 8 or 10 or 15 or 19. Like, you can make a change and to be in your most authentic self, which is like, I do want some friends and I want to do it different than how I was raised to do it. Because some of us were raised by people who didn't trust anyone and they didn't let people in. And we grew up in households that were very insular. Our family was our friends, and we weren't, it wasn't patterned to us how to be friends with outsiders. So you can go back and ask yourself some questions like, like, how did my primary caregivers, teach me about friends? What did my aunt say versus my mom versus my grandmother versus my grandfather? Like, I want you to think about your beginnings, because friends to me matter more than ever as our lives are evolving, because, our spouses may pass away, our siblings may pass away. We are often, if we have enough of them, left with friends, and now you see friends moving in together and doing things and having non-traditional households where they extend that friendship into like really a way of life. Okay. Part of what our boomer parents, or if you are a boomer, I'm 46, so I have a boomer parent, may have taught you about friendship could be really healthy, and part of it may not. And you now, as the person you are, get to decide what you want to do. So I think I'm on 6. This might be 7, who knows? I want you to realize that midlife is the best time to find friends who are similar to you and friends who are different than you, because maybe your children are more grown. I know I have a almost 16-year-old and older kids, so my time isn't as taken up with kid things. Or if you had kids a little later in life, no judgment, just using words, then maybe you find some friends who are like you, who had kids later in life. Sometimes the friends of your kids can evolve to be your friends too. So that's another way to find and keep friends. Number 8, I want you to think about, I talked about Michael being my film buddy friend. I want you to think about different meetup.com, where you go for an activity, like you don't have to go trying to meet everybody and work in the room. Maybe you center in on 1 or 2 people, and then you say, hey, would you like to do a hike after this? Like, what's your schedule? I know for my tennis class, I often get a couple of tennis buddies. Sometimes we hit more than once, sometimes we don't, where we're like, hey, let's get together and do this. And maybe we go get breakfast after, or go on a walk, or do whatever. Okay. One of the things I want you to do is to kind of get acquainted with some of your friend traits you like. Like, are you quiet and you like louder, more silly friends? Are you silly and loud and you like more intuitive, introverted friends? Do you want to be purposeful about finding a friend who is different than you? Like I mentioned about race and sexual orientation, and you got to be careful. You don't want the person to think, oh, I'm just being your friend because of this. You want to find real, genuine things to be friends with about. And if they don't want to be your friend, like, feel that rejection, but move on to other people who might. And I want to say this is not the easiest thing in the world, right? You're probably like, Coach Kim, your ass don't need no help finding friends. I have made a lot of new friends over the years, but for me, if you if you cut open a tree and you see the concentric circles, the people who are closest to me, I've known the most time. Although in the pandemic, I had a friend who we got a lot closer, and I consider her a best friend. And then there are other concentric circles that are further out, like associates. I might see them once a year or a few times a year. The people who are closest to me, we like sometimes we're intentional about like saying, oh, we haven't seen each other, let's get together. But sometimes I might be like, what you doing? Okay, let's meet up at the Whole Foods. Okay. So It's okay to have different circles of friends, closer than a circle that goes out that's a little less close, less close, less close, but there's still people who you love, you respect, you cherish, but you may not see them all the time, all right? So I said this before and I want to say it again. It is okay if you make a friend with someone and they do not make the cut. Like either they shy away from you or you shy away from them. It's a certain synergy or certain energy of attraction that brings people together, but sometimes those people end up repelling. And I can think about one woman who I tried to be friends with, and we were just too different. I could think about maybe 3 women like that. And they shouldn't have to change. We had one with one of the women, I had a conversation where she told me all the things she didn't like about me. And I was like, okay, all right, okay. And that's okay. Like, that's okay. Cry about it if you need to, move on. If people don't like you and they say things that they don't like about you, certainly you can look at that list and you can also decide that they are not your people. Not everybody wants to give you the benefit of the doubt, and that is okay. Friend breaks are a thing. That's why I have that podcast episode. While it feels personal and you want to take it personal, what people's behavior is about them. And if you're a person who can apologize and not do the same behavior continually, then you deserve to find people who are willing to see your goodness. I do want to say this. You got to check your trying too hard meter. Now, I said something about pursuing, but then I'm sorry, y'all, I have a bunny that lives in my yard that I've called Bunny Butt, and Bunny Butt is like right outside the window. I know it's the same bunny because there's never been a bunny that lets me, I'm not a person who's like, let me pet the wildlife. Like I want them to have their own lives, but Bunny Butt, when it gets really hot, goes under the bush that's right by our door, and he'll want to run away, but he's gotten so used to me that I'll like be able to get out the house. Bunny Butt is my friend. I love seeing Bunny Butt, and Bunny Butt's right here. I'm right by the window, so I'm seeing Bunny Butt. My husband's like, how do you know it's the same bunny? Because I know. I freaking know. All right. Check your trying too hard meter. Sometimes when we really want something, we come on a little strong, and you may have to take a breath and be like, hey, I'm really digging you as a friend. Like I'm enjoying our friendship. In the past, I might have come on a little strong, and I want to try to make sure that doesn't happen. So you may have to like check yourself. You may have to check yourself and decide what too strong looks like, and also ask others. Like if you're asking someone, and I've had some of these friendships where they ask me to do stuff all the time, I will just say to them, hey, I really enjoy spending time with you, but right now I'm working on this project, and I won't be really doing much until the next month. Or I may say, you know what, it's good for me to get you out the house. I know you always initiate our time together, but I really know that I'd like to initiate this. So people who want something sometimes try too hard. So you can extend some grace and you can have a conversation with the person. Or if you're the person who's trying too hard, you can have a conversation with them and say, hey, I think I'm trying a little too hard. You can ask questions. You know, how would you like me to contact you? Like, what are your needs with, seeing people? Do you like talking on the phone? Oh, you don't, so don't try to push your agenda on someone. Ask questions. Okay. But be willing to check your insecurities with yourself too. You don't have to always air out insecurities constantly with another person. Sometimes you need to do that work with yourself as well, because, vulnerability feels, vulnerable. And sometimes you're going to get rejected by someone you like. And if someone you like is rejecting you and says they don't want to be a friend, believe them. However, the revolving door, I know I said earlier that you can, kind of make a list and think about people who you want to reconnect with. Also, some of these people where these friendships end, I'm thinking of one of my really good friends. We've known each other since we were 18 years old. We've had some breakups and we came back together. And now there's really nothing that's going to end our friendship. And I actually like saying that. I have a friend who she and I had a bit of some tiffs because of some of her own personal issues. And I said to her one day, I've done the work around my own codependency, so our friendship doesn't have to end. And when, you know, at the height of her personal problems, it was so painful for me. It helped me to grow. And now I don't take it as personally, and I'm able to step away when I need to step away. And she's the same way. We have a respect with each other. I don't need her to, like I just said to her, hey, if this happens, my boundary is, and you can have boundaries with friends, by the way, my boundary is that I don't help in this. You have this community that helps you. And like, this is the one space where I can't help because I don't know as much as these people. And you have that already. And we've already acknowledged it. It's been aired out. And while we did have a friend breakup a while back, that's been handled. Okay. Friend chats, save friendships. You don't have to wait until it gets so big. You can check in and say, hey, I noticed this happened. Can we talk about it? And if they say they can't talk about it right then respect that. And, you could ask again. And if they say it's not a big deal, then you may need to process that on your own, or you may need to figure out what you want to do next in that. Okay. Ask a friend for a friend accommodation. Ask somebody who already knows you, that you like it, hey, I'm trying to open up my friend circle. Can you think of someone you think we would vibe together? And then, you meet up with them with the friend, or you meet up with them on your own, and you're like, oh, wow, this friend accommodation was incorrect, or it was correct. Give yourself some time. I always tell this to people with their dating. Don't decide the first date gives you lots of information. Like, you may need to spend more time with a person to understand them, to like them, to do all those things. Okay. Sometimes friendship is hard, and that's okay. It just is. Sometimes it's hard. If you like, and I want to make this analogy, and I think it's really funny I'm making this analogy. Let's just say that you start working out, and when you first start working out, it's harder and it gets progressively easier. And at some point, then it's just like, oh, working out is something I do. It's the same thing with friends. Bad analogy, Kim. Bad analogy, Kim. It's the same thing with friends. Like, how day one is when you're on this journey to have more friends does not need to be day 90 or day 100. Like James Clear talks about the first 100 days of a big change being hard, and it's not indicative that you made a poor choice to change. Like, it can take a while, especially if you have trauma or past situations, which so many of us have, where people we thought were friends betrayed us. Maybe you even were a person who did betray someone. I mean, that is a thing. Like, give yourself time. If you are willing to grow, if you want to grow your friend circle, this is just a recommendation. Give yourself a year. In a year, I think I can find a couple of new friends. Go to events. Be open. Speak to people first. Ask if you can share emails. Like, do you come here every month? Well, is it cool if I sit next to you next time I come? Like, you'll have to put yourself out there. You'll have to pursue. Okay. And yes, you're going to feel ick at times when you lean in. You just are. But a wonderful friend is worth the ick. I have a friend, I'm not going to say her name, and I met her. I did poetry. like centuries ago, y'all. I did poetry. And I went up to her after I heard her read a poem. She's so talented, so gifted. She looked at me over her glasses, gave me this appraising look, and was like, thank you, and sent me on my way. And I kind of just kept saying hey to her. And eventually she heard me read, and we are thicker than thieves. Okay. Like I just reached out to her. We talk a lot. It's that kind of friendship where if we don't talk in a while, when we talk, we get on the next page. She feeds me. She loves me. We talk. It's just good. And if I had not gotten past that appraising look, which she does to everybody, we laugh about it so hard now. And it's so different. That is her initial demeanor until you get in there. And then she is ooey gooey, amazing, and just like fantastic. So what you get at first may not be what the foundation is of your friendship. So allow yourself to like grow in your friendship. Okay. Yay. Yay, yay, yay. That's a lot of stuff in here. I did not spend a lot of time organizing this episode because I'm trying to launch a program. So y'all come back if you're interested in the new weight loss program. Go to kimarrington.com/weight loss. You'll get more information. And if you need help with growing in the confidence to gain more friends, especially if you move to a new town, especially then you want to get on my wait list to be private coached. I am telling you that is getting smaller and smaller. So if you're interested, go ahead and do that. Go to kimarrington.com and just hit join waitlist, and you'll fill out some questions, and me or my team will get back to you. Okay. Have a good one. Have a good one. Woo, woo, woo. See you next week.
Are you feeling what you just heard? Good, good. Repeat after me. You don't have to figure it out on your own again anymore. I'm here to help. Head over to kimarrington.com and download my free video series dedicated to getting you feeling your best right now. Look around, there's some good stuff waiting on you. Got questions? Well, we're always talking on the socials, so find me on YouTube, Insta, and the book. Don't be shy, y'all. Go listen to another episode or join me here the same time next week. Finally, don't keep good shit to yourself. Share this with a homie that could use some help too. Remember, we're not lying to ourselves anymore. We're not lying to our doctors, and you damn sure don't lie to your life.